Welcome in, race fans, to another edition of In the Dirt. This is Webb Dillard. And of all the weekends that a family friend decides that they're going to get married, it is on the weekend when, of course, the Pelican 100, Bub McCool parks it in Victory Lane, one of the best races. I mean, if you looked at the video on Dirt, it was just amazing racing. He held off some of the biggest guys in the sport to get the win. Then a little closer home here, over at Cleveland Speedway, another fabulous race, lots of passing, slide jobs. People lost count of how many slide jobs were happening in the top five. Randy Weaver, he walked away with the Shamrock victory. Both are scheduled to be on the show tonight, but of all the weekends, initially, I was supposed to go cover the Pelican 100. But, you know, Michael Rigsby made amends, and he fixed the schedule, sent Richard Ford over there, and Richard did a great job. But still, why are weddings ruin everything? Weddings ruin football. It ruins racing. Not that I didn't mind going, because it was some very close friends, and I knew the kid since he's probably about 6 years old. So I was more than happy to go. But I've been to lots of weddings where they take you away from stuff.
Webb, what's going on, my man?
As usual, recovering from a weekend trip, tired. And then at 4:30 this afternoon, which, you know, Mondays are busy in the afternoon, evening. You know, we're getting ready for the show. But 4:30, Brandy calls and says she's running late. So what do? I spring into action. And the Dirt on Dirt guys, will, you know, if they hear this, will know what I'm talking about. But I got some serious spaghetti making skills because I had to spring into action tonight with them. So I made dinner while getting ready for the show. All I have, boom is all I have to say.
I was catching the updates on the Facebook. I think somebody had posted that you were a known hauler of.
I thought they were calling me a jackass.
Is that what you thought they were saying?
No. When I first got you're talking about our buddy Jesse Lyons put the deal on Dirt, may, whatever, however you say that word. I got the picture. All I saw was my face and then a donkey. I was like, well, there's a big fan of mine, or there's somebody that knows me. But no, we made the comment, or I did after leaving Volusia, that I was a known hauler of ass, and that's when I clicked on it. That's what it said. So at least nobody said I was a jackass publicly. So that was good. I felt better about it then.
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to navigate through the Dirt on Dirt website. And I don't know what my problem is, but I think Rigsby's got to revamp this thing, dude. He's got to do something with it. We need like an easier way to get to the videos.
Well, Michael
Maybe
Rigsby,
if I click the tab that says video.
Yeah, I'll get you there.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Michael. That's just my idiot self.
What's weird?
I was just trying to scan through, because I wanted to go back and look at some of the highlights, because I know we're going to talk about some of this stuff. So I'm just sitting here, like, you know, picking through. Got to get my mind freshened. Don't tell me I lost you.
As you said, Michael Rigsby's name, he popped up on my Facebook page. He was needing something. I was like, ooh, that's kind of scary. Look, he's already going to do it.
It's because we're all on the same wavelength. I was criticizing. Every time I go there, I don't know what. See, at the top of it, you know, it has national, north, south. Those are all the links. But I don't know why, when I'm looking at it, I go over to the one section, and let me go back there. Yeah, it says Real Dirt. And there's only like 4 videos there. Like maybe the part that says Real Dirt, you need to be able to click on that part.
Now, if you haven't, anybody out there that is a subscriber to Dirt on Dirt, and you haven't seen the highlights from the Pelican 100 and the highlights from the Shamrock from Cleveland, holy mackerel. I mean, and as I said in when I first brought the show on, I don't have anything against weddings, and I'm glad to be invited to any and all weddings. But it seems like when I go to a wedding, I miss either a great football game or like the great racing. You know, in Rigsby actually called me. He texted me like Friday night. He's like, "Dude, is there any way I can let you go to make you go to Clarksville? How much would it take?" And I said, "I can't bail, dude."
I got in trouble.
Got in trouble? So on the show tonight, we got a jam-packed show. We have several people coming on, and looks like we have one of our first guests on hold there. But I'm trying to do too many things at one time here. But we've got a Michigan Dirt Cup driver coming on. He's actually second, and I'm going to mess his name up. So I already told him that he can make fun of me. I don't care. But his name is Josh. I want to say, he said don't pronounce the E, but there's two E's in it. So Josh Gurn. But I know he's a listener to the show. I also know that he's a competitor up there in the Michigan Dirt Cup. Prior to him being on the show, we're going to have Rob Rouch and his driver, Scott Bowersock. We're going to have them on the show. Also, we're going to have a sprint car driver, a young lady from Texas. Her name is Elizabeth Richardson. She'll be on. Of course, we want to talk to her about who she is, where she's racing at, how she's got to the point where she's in racing, what she's accomplished thus far. But I kind of want to ask the young lady about what she thinks about the Danica Patrick campaign that NASCAR seems to be, pouring on all of us. Just to get a female racer's perspective of what she thinks.
Everywhere you look at Webb, one comment. Everywhere you look, this is the racing promotion nowadays. You will have to either be female or you have to be a kid that shouldn't be driving in the first place.
Well, I mean, I don't know if the female part's true. I mean, we all know, and it's unfortunate.
I didn't say that if you weren't allowed to race if you were a female. I was saying that I really don't enjoy racing against 12 and 13-year-old kids. Is that a fair statement?
I mean, this day and age is different. I mean, if it was 25 years ago, 30 years ago, well, I mean, probably before that. I mean, you didn't even get a shot at Cup car until you were in your mid-30s. Now, I mean, it's like you said. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, here's where I try to justify this to people is that if I got some 13-year-old kid beside me, I don't know he's a 13-year-old kid, and we go down into the corner, and maybe he's bouncing off of me a little bit, blah blah blah, whatever's happening. He bangs me a little bit too hard, and I decide to dump his ass into the pit gate. I don't want to be hurting a 13-year-old kid because he's a 13-year-old kid. If I was a 24-year-old guy, he should know better.
But I think too, though, because I've watched a 12-year-old kid race with grown men, and that Michael Lake from up in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, and he handled himself well. But I think I'm sure that there's some of them that will handle themselves well. But I mean, you can't drive them any different than you would, Robbie Hensley. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't. You have to just drive them. You got to look at them as another competitor. If their mom and dad sign off on that kid being out there on the racetrack with you, I mean, there's people who are twice his age that can't drive worth of crap. So I mean, how do you handle them?
But see, there's a difference between me walking up to a 25-year-old guy and punching him in the mouth.
Well,
and walking up to a 13-year-old
obviously you can't go punch him in the mouth. You got to go say, "Hey,
right,
buddy."
No, but our sport is more or less it's full contact. This is UFC on wheels.
Well, but I mean, if we were doing a hockey show about hockey, I'd say, but you can't go punch.
And I'm not talking about getting in fist fights with guys. I'm talking about you're literally fighting somebody for a position. You are doing whatever it is possible.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm.
Hey,
that's what I'm getting at. I'm not talking about starting a riot with people.
Well,
I'm just saying it's a contact sport.
The kid's going to learn. If it's a kid, then he'll have to learn them. You get in there and rattle his cage and kind of push him out of the way, then it's a learning experience for him. Just like it was for you, just like it was for every driver. I mean, at some point, either you're going to be intimidated and not race, or you're going to be the intimidator and race. And I don't mean that wasn't a Dale Earnhardt. No pun intended there.
And I get that part, but the part I'm talking about is I don't know. It just, if I know that there's a 13-year-old kid next to me, it's kind of hard for me to just go balls out on him. I
mean, I don't know. I mean, and if you're racing, I mean,
the reality of it is this. I mean, ultimately, dirt racing was about outlaws, and I don't even see a 13 or 14-year-old kid carrying that type of demeanor. I mean, how is that even appealing? I mean, it's more to me a fad that's going to fade away rather than like a legacy type thing.
Well, we got a jam-packed show, and I that is a good topic of how to handle the kids, especially in our sport, because you're going to find more, I think, racing at the level which we cover and talk about than you will at
right, because their dads ain't got the balls to get in the car and race, so they throw their kid in there.
Brian, you're on Fuego this evening.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, they had to have some kind of balls, or they wouldn't have any kids. Just saying. I mean, that's
the guys that ain't got no balls are car owners.
Oh, well, I'm not even. I mean, okay.
Actually, I think we got one of those on hold.
We got a car owner, but he used to be a driver. Also on the program tonight, we're going to talk to let's see, we got Rob Rouch, Scott Bowersock, we're getting ready to come on. Josh Gurn, and I know I'm butchering that name, but we'll let him tell us what it is when he gets online.
Hey, I've seen his name before too. I can't pronounce it. We're going to get the correction on that.
Elizabeth Richardson after Josh, and then we're going to talk to Randy Weaver, the Shamrock victor. Then about 7-ish, we'll talk to Bub McCool's going to call us, talk about that race over. I mean, he fought off Don O'Neill and Chris Wall, and then at the end, Billy Moyer. I mean, that's awesome. You really done something when you've done that. And then at the end of the program, of course, we got Ryan Atkins, our buddy, theflagtoflag.net, his brother, Ryan Atkins. Jason Atkins has the website. Ryan Atkins picked up the $3,000 win portion of the Skylar Troll Memorial. I probably said that wrong. I know.
You're messing it all up.
Well, Skylar, what is it? What was the name of it? It was a late edition, so I didn't really get all the information I needed to get out of that one.
I'm pretty sure it's the Skylar Troll Memorial.
That's right, and there's a $3,000 portion. So we'll talk to Ryan Atkins about that about 15 after 7 or so. Plus my top 25. Been a little bit of mix up at the bottom with the tours that took place over the weekend. Real quick, one of the guys I got to know over the last few months, one of the drivers, the 87 car, I think he's out of Virginia, Walker Arthur. Man, that dude's cool. I put him in at 25, just give you a sneak peek. He picked up one of the wins over there over Shirley at the Toilet Bowl deal. I guess there was a Friday night race there. But all right, well, let's go ahead and bring on the program our first two guests here. Let's welcome Scott Bowersock and Rob Rouch to the program. Hello, guys.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Wide open as usual.
No offense, Rob, but I had to take a punch at you, man.
No, it's all good, man.
So, Rob, we finally crossed paths at the IMA show. I know you have a performance parts company. Yeah. How was the IMA show for you as a businessman?
Pretty good. I mean, it went pretty good. Business is still, going as good. I mean, I'm, sold $10,000 worth, already this year. So, I mean, it's, going real good. So, I mean, hopefully it just keeps up.
I mean, it's just the start. You guys haven't even thawed out. I just drove through Indiana. It's under from about, I'd say about Indianapolis north. It's under a blanket of that white crap.
Oh, we had 10 inches up where I'm at, so it's gone now. So, I mean, but yeah.
Well, it was almost 70 degrees yesterday, Webb.
Where, in Indianapolis?
I think we were up to about 52 here yesterday, so.
Listen, when I got to Fort Wayne and couldn't see any grass, I knew damn well why I moved to the South.
Yeah.
Cannot stand that crap. And then I walked by my stepdad's front door, and I was like, dude, what's this funny-looking shovel you got here? He's like, it's a snow shovel. I was like, I don't know what that is. But anyway, so you guys had a shake-up there at Rouch Motorsports, which every time I talk to you, I just think I think you're like Jack's nephew, but no relation, right?
No.
Need some of Jack's money.
Yeah, well.
We all could use that.
But you've added to the stable the guy that you put a different guy into the Rouch late model, and it's Scott Bowersock. Tell us a little bit about how that relationship came about.
Me and Scott, I mean, he's a real good friend of the family. I mean, I've known Scott probably 30 years of my life. I mean, it's a pretty cool story because back when I was like 7, 8 years old, and my dad was racing. Scott and his dad, was a mop coder, and Scott was like 13, 14, and my dad just, talked to Scott's dad, said, hey, can he get in my car, just one time, and, he actually got in and drove it, run pretty good. And
well, that was a trade-off, Rob. That was I lettered his car for him, and I got to drive it the first night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I was young. I didn't know, but I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, Scott. He knows Eldora. To me, Scott knows Eldora better than a lot of people. I mean, when you guys talk to him, here in a minute, he'll tell you. I mean, he's won championships there. He's won races there. I mean, he just, he knows how to drive the place. And, I mean, Bill Lewis drove for us, for 14 years. He just, he wanted to take a year off, run mods this year. And, after this year, I think, him probably either going to hang it up, or keep running modifieds. So he just, we picked up Scott, and, the good thing is we've known Scott for a while, so, I mean, we'll have a pretty good year.
So, Scott, are you any relation to Jerry?
Yeah, Jerry's my older brother.
Now that guy knows Eldora.
Yeah, he's like me, he didn't actually start his first race at Eldora, I don't think. He might have started at Mansfield or something, but my very first lap that I turned in my own race car was at Eldora. But yeah, he's won. I'm not sure exactly how many races he's won at Eldora as far as A features. I mean, we both won probably 100 heat races at Eldora over the years, and I've got 18 features, A feature wins at Eldora. There when I had my street stock, I should have had 4 championships right in a row from 97 to 2000. I missed the first 3 there by 1 point. And that, you think back, it's like, man, it'd been nice to have 4 championships at Eldora right in a row, but, it just wasn't meant to be. But, and then I ran a street stock down there in 2009 for John Brooks, and same deal, man. It was like, lost the championship by 1 point. And, I don't know. Be nice to win one in a late model or a modified down there, though. That's what I'd really like to do.
Have you been over?
Is this your first year in the late model, or have you been in the late models for before?
Yeah. I I had my own late model from 2000 to 2004, and I ran the Sunoco series there, them years, and it was expensive, and I didn't have, them 4 years that I had my car, it had a cast iron block in it. As a matter of fact, the motor that was in that late model was the one that I had in my modified last season, and it finally broke at Mount Pillier. That motor was my brother's first late model motor that he had. It's pretty wild that, everybody says that in them modifieds, you need to have $18,000 motors. That motor run with Mullinses at the Fall Nationals, and it was 28 years old, the cranking rods, but rod bolts what broke, and that was a sentimental motor. How many motors you hear of that's got, heads and shit that's 20 years old. Pretty cool.
Have you been over to Eldora, since you've had a lot of laps around there, have you been over to Eldora when any of the NASCAR guys have been on it, whether it be with the Prelude or maybe the truck test or anything? Have you been there when they were there?
No. As far as the Preludes go, I was in the pit area there one year when Denny Hamlin drove my brother's late model, and it was all right. I didn't really care that he wadded my brother's car up and drank all their beer and left and didn't say, thanks, nothing. That's kind of sad, but
that's yeah. Hey, listen, that's exactly what the hell I would do. I would do the same thing, except I'd say thank you for the free beer. Now,
wad his brother's car up and then go drink all his beer.
My question would be, since you have so many laps around there and so many victories there, what did you see that they were doing right, doing wrong, whether it be Denny Hamlin getting around the place or anybody? Did anybody impress you getting around there?
Yeah, I think Jimmy Johnson. I talked to him. He ran around the bottom there in hot laps, and he was standing there watching the next group of people hot lapping, and Boyer and them come blowing through there right up on the fence, and I told him, I said, if you do not go up on the top, you're gonna get trained all night. You ain't gonna go nowhere. And when he went back out, he was on the top. I mean, it was cool because I don't care whether they're big superstars or whatever. That place gets your attention when you go in up on the wall. It'll get your attention.
Is it the same thing? So we can expect that with the trucks in June, that they're going to have to do the same thing? Because those trucks probably would drive, I mean, not exactly like a street stock, but I would assume it would be similar, boxy.
Yeah, I think, they'll be able to go around the top. It'll build a cushion. Now,
would you jump? Let's say I got a truck. Let's say I'm a truck owner, and I call and say, "Hey, dude, you want to do it?" Of course, you'd want to, right?
Oh yeah. Jeff Babcock, he's gonna give her a try. That'll be cool.
How many guys other than the bigger names do you know of that are actually going to get a shot at racing the trucks?
There was talk for a little bit that my brother was going to maybe get a chance to drive one, but I hadn't really heard any more about any of that. But he'd be good at it. I know he'd be a good asphalt driver.
Well, all right, Rob, it's here it is already March 11th. Is the car owner in this operation making a decision on where you're going to race at, or you leave it up to the driver? How do you guys decide that? What's going to be the first event?
The first race, we're going to try to hit the ALMS show at LaSalle. I mean, if that don't work out, it'll probably be, Eldora, April 13th, I would say. I know we're going to run Eldora for points. I mean, that's pretty much given. I don't know if we're going to run the whole Sunoco series, but we're going to try. I mean, we're going to definitely try to run that whole deal. It just depends. Summer national shows, we're going to hit a few of them. So, I mean, I would say either the end of this month will be our first race or around the 1st of April will be our first race. And, I mean, the new car stuff's supposed to be here, at the end of the month is what I'm hearing. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm hoping for. I'm kind of stuck now. I told you guys the time I've been on motors. I mean, I'm kind of stuck to who to go with now. I mean, everybody's telling me, don't go to Rouch Yates. A lot of people telling me to go to Cornet. Big Kill and those guys, they're good buddies of mine. They're pretty much on me. Get a motor from us. Get a motor from us. So.
Well, I can tell you, get a motor from me if you're going to go buy one from Vic or any of those guys. I'll build you two.
So I'll build you two. The Hogue motor.
Here, I make you a deal, Rob. I'll build you 2 engines for what it'll cost you to get one from Jay Dickens or somebody like that, and I'll promise you they'll be within 20 or 30 horsepower or whatever they could deliver.
Yeah. Take it.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, like I said,
and then find somebody to put up a motor and the money that says that it won't, and we'll take their money and we'll build 2 more.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Hogue motor I got now. I mean, it's it's a strong motor. It'll run. I mean, it's pushing 890. I mean, it's good. It'll get around. And I think, with Scott driving the car this year, I mean, you're going to see a big difference. I really think the thing, that hurt was just not being in the car a lot. Where now, this car is going to get raced week in and week out. I mean, it's not just going to be like, run once and then go run something else and then come back and run this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we got, sponsors. I mean, it's, we got to, especially with the big sponsor coming, that's our goal is to race every weekend. I mean, that's pretty much the goal. Unless there's something totally, there's some rain, lightning storm, all that, and you can't go race somewhere. And, unless it's a Sunoco show, if it's a Sunoco show and we got to drive 4 hours, well, you got to drive because, running for points for those guys, if you show up, it's going to get you points regardless if it gets rained out or not. But the good thing about Sunoco, when we go to Illinois and run those shows, we don't just drive 4 or 5 hours and run one time. Their shows are 3-4 day shows over there. You run 3-4 nights in a row. So it's, for us, it's pretty much the best series to run. And this year we can do it. So, Scott can go to the races. So, that's pretty much why we're going to run, pretty much a lot of the Sunoco stuff.
Well, Rob, how can drivers and teams get a hold of you to get some pricing information on racing parts?
I'm on 4m.net under 26 Race Team. My phone numbers, the office of my house is 765-728-8270. Cell phones, 765-499-4613. But, 4M is pretty much the biggest site I deal from. I make good money off that website.
I hear you.
That website, it's just awesome that they don't charge you to list on it.
And Scott, before we let you get out here, I want you to thank some of the crew members and also any sponsors that is going to help get that 26 car around the track this year.
Crew member is Alan Rouch, which is my dad. He's the crew chief. Me. And, we'll have some guys help here and there. We're actually doing a charity event this year. It's called Drivers for Kids to support Children's Speedway charities. It's in Lima, Ohio on May 25th from 11 to 1. It's going to be a pretty good deal. Us, Jeep Van Warmer, Andrew Rione, Justin Coulter, Jeff Babcock, And, I mean, there's a few other ones going to be there, so it's just going to be a good deal. Sponsors, obviously Suavecito Tequila. You know, they're back on board this year. Jared's Auto Shop, Rouch Race Supply, Ames Oil, Vance Auto Parts, Rimflex Exhaust Gaskets, TWM, GW Performance, Hogue Engines, Bowersock Signs and Lines, Sweet Graphics, Brandon Murray Photos, Base Race Fuel, T3G, they're always repping those guys. RDW Photos, which is Roy Walker, and Behind the Lens Photography at Ada, Ohio. So I think it's going to be a pretty good year. So.
Well, all right. Well, Scott, appreciate you coming on. Good luck in the new ride this year. And Rob, make sure you keep us up to date about what's going on with the team.
Oh yeah, definitely will, man.
All right, it's Rob Rouch and Scott Bowersock. Look for them on the Sunoco series this year. Talk to you guys down the road, man.
All right, thanks, buddy.
See ya.
I missed half of the conversation, Webb.
Did you figure out how to say Josh's last name? Tell me, just so I won't mess it up when he's online with us. I know he might can hear us now, but just tell me.
Yeah, he can hear us. I didn't ask him.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm gonna guess that it's Gurn.
Gurn.
That's a guess. Now you have to bring him on. You have to ask him if we did it right.
Here we go. Let's welcome to the program. I don't know if this is a real nickname or not, but I nickname is the Bear Lake Badass, Josh Gurn. Josh?
Yeah, you guys pronounced it correct.
Booyah.
Yep.
So sweet. My English isn't as bad as I thought.
No, you guys did good.
Anybody calls us stupid? Burn. So now, Josh, you and I, we touched base, I don't know, several months ago, I think, just on Facebook, and that's how I talk to a lot of people anyway. But you're one of those open wheel guys up there in that Michigan Dirt Cup, right?
Well, yeah, but this year we changed venues, and we're going to run a late model.
So will you run the Michigan Dirt Cup late model, or just run? You're going to go around?
Yeah, we're going to run the full Dirt Cup schedule. Hopefully this year, if everything goes right and we got enough money.
I know.
So what kind of car did you get?
We got a 2008 Track Star by J-Mac.
Who the heck is J-Mac? Why do I see that all the time?
Justin McCree, right?
I believe that's who it is, yes.
Justin McCree. He's out of Alabama here by me. He.
Yep.
Now I remember. So does that have that trick left rear deal that McCree has?
No, the Track Star. Well, it may, but the Track Star is actually, it comes from, I can't think of his name. I have it in my head.
Mike Bolin.
Mike Bolin out of Cuba, Alabama. And great race cars. So evidently, Justin McCree had made a version of the car his way, and that's what you're telling me.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, I didn't know that. Oh, well, cool. Yep. I know J-Mac. Matter of fact, you probably saw the video from Ocala. Did you see that earlier in the season, the Neesmith video where he did the slide job on Ronnie Lee?
Yep, I saw that one. Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was a slide job heard around the internet. So anyway, let me ask you a real quick question. You guys are a tight-knit bunch up there because you're on a peninsula, so you got to know everybody that races. And what did you think about Poole going down there and taking and bagging a couple gators?
Hey, that's good for our state. You know, it shows that our guys can run with the best of them.
I mean, not that I doubt it.
He literally bagged a couple gators.
Well, the trophies are gators. But it's just fun. It's just more fun to say that he, shot a couple gators or gator killer Poole, that kind of thing. Just more fun. So anyway, you guys.
Well, hold on? Are you telling me that he didn't jump in the water and kill some alligators? He just won some trophies.
Not that Jacob wouldn't jump in the water, because he probably would. But no, he did not. He did not wrestle alligators.
I seriously thought that he actually went down there and shot some alligators.
Well, no, the Gator Nationals is what it's called, and the trophies are like brass or bronze or whatever alligators. Are really sweet trophies. And then,
they look nice.
I was calling my cousin last week. I said, dude, you know what? this guy is a racer from Michigan, and he's such a badass. He went down there racing at the Gator Nationals, and they went gator hunting and shot some alligators. I was like, that's something I got to do now. I was like, figure out a way that I can get down there and I can get in the water and, like, shoot one with a pistol, because I was going to have to one-up him.
Oh, man. We need to get you hooked up.
So I don't have to do that now.
No. You just got to get an open wheel or a late model, come down there and win one. And if you win the whole shebang, you get like a 6-foot gator.
That'd be nice to have.
It's really cool. Now, but back to Mr. Gurn. Now, honestly, Josh, you told me a long time ago that you guys sit around and listen to the show. I mean, is it a religious thing that you guys listen to the show?
Well, when it's wintertime, yeah, because we still got about 3 feet of snow on the ground.
Oh, I couldn't deal with that.
It's just too cold to do anything, so we just sit around and listen to you guys.
I mean, we know people listen, but when people actually tell you they listen, you're like, I'm still amazed. And I got the numbers to prove that people listen, and it still amazes me when somebody actually verbalizes it to them. I'm like, Rit?
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, we know. It's cold.
So you guys are open wheel. Open wheel is where you came from. You're going to be late model this year. What was your? Where did you start at in racing? Did you start at go-karts?
Yeah, I started a go-kart when I was about, I think it was 14 years old. Me and my brother did, and my mom would watch me race a go-kart, but my dad wouldn't because he didn't like me racing a go-kart. So then we switched to got a open wheel modified, and my dad still wouldn't watch me race that, but my mom would, and some stuff happened, and we ended up with a late model this year. So
the old man, he's never raced or been around racing? He's always just been a fan, or what's his story?
He just hung around with my uncle, used to drag race a lot, and I grew up around drag racing a lot too, and he just never got into it and decided one day that, well, let's throw the kid in the go-kart and see how he does.
But I'm not going to watch him. That's what bothered. So he was too nervous to watch you.
Yeah. He couldn't do it.
Huh. Your mom's a badass.
Yeah.
Most moms don't watch.
Oh, she used to throw. She put a lot of her money behind me for racing. A lot of it.
Now listen. I've seen some dirt track moms get real loose out of turn number 4 if somebody got into their boy. What if somebody? If she perceives somebody has run you ragged or for lack of a better term, what's the worst thing mom's done or said, or can you say? But what's the worst thing mom's done? What's been her worst reaction to something that happened on the speedway?
Well, I remember I was battling with this guy at the track, and I wasn't letting up to go into the corner. He wasn't letting me go up into the corner, and well, we both ended up spinning out, taking each other out, and we get in the pits, and my mom goes running right over to him. And mind you, she's 5'3", maybe weighs 100 pounds soaking wet. And she went right over to him and asked him which end of the body the helmet's on. And he was about 6'4", probably 300 pounds. And she got right up in his face.
Did he answer and then say yes, ma'am, or how did that go?
He turned around and walked away from her.
I mean, I would have been mortified if the lady came at me and was like, hey, which end is your ass and which end is your head?
Yep, she let him know.
That's pretty good. So
yep.
you guys are gonna, and I haven't seen the schedule yet for the Michigan Dirt Cup, and you've probably seen some of my video work. I've actually done some work for them. I got a couple more videos to get you guys, Mr. Stebbins and Mr. Long. So I apologize, I've been wide open. I do got a couple more videos to give them. But are you guys going to try to get out of Michigan? Are you going to come down to Ohio or Indiana or anything like that this year, or is it just going to be all Michigan racing?
There's one race, I think it's round number 7, is going to be at Portsmouth, Indiana, I believe it is.
Is it Portsmouth, Ohio?
Portsmouth or Plymouth, Indiana? Plymouth, Indiana.
Plymouth, yeah, that sounds better.
Yep, round 7 is going to be there this year. And then they're going to hold the season championship is going to be at Berlin. They're going to cover it with dirt again, and it's going to be, I think, the week before the World of Outlaws show up again down there.
Now, I mean, is that so? You guys are gonna. I mean, what are you excited to be racing against that caliber of driver in the World of Outlaws? I mean, that's perceived to be some of the best in the country. I mean, are you gonna try to make that show?
We're gonna go. I mean, we're kind of under horsepowered this year, but I mean, we're gonna give it our shot because you know anything can happen, and we're just gonna see what happens because I'm gonna try and run against some of the better guys up here to get better at it, and Brandon Thurlby's been helping me out quite a bit with selling me some of his used tires and helping me with some stuff on the car, and hopefully I'll get to run against him a few times this year, and he can teach me a few things, and I can relay it and maybe make a show with the big guys.
That's right. Now, his little brother actually, I think, parked it in third place in one of them races at the Gator National. So Michigan, the one night that Jacob, one of the nights that Jacob won, it was first and third for Michigan Dirt Cup drivers.
Yeah, he finished third that night. Yep. That
was really cool. Well, all right. Well, Josh, before we let you get out here, man, any sponsors or any crew members you want to thank?
Well, I got to thank my crew chief, Ben Wagger. He's been behind me the whole time. I let him jump in the car every now and then and do a little racing since I can't quite afford to pay him to work on the car, but he works on the car pretty much every day. Thank my girlfriend, Krista. She does the public relations for us. And Blarney Castle, Oil and Propane. They came on board with me this year and are helping out a little bit. So hopefully it'll be a good year.
Now, listen, I have no objections to washing a car, but do I get to jump in it too since you wouldn't be able to pay me?
Hey.
I'll come out laughing.
Yeah, he was pretty stoked about it that night because he didn't know about it until we got to the racetrack. And then I told him, by the way, you're racing it tonight because he works on it pretty much every day, and I just figured, that's one way of repaying him back. And he was pretty stoked about it because I let him hot lap it one time, but he raced it the full race, and he did pretty good for his first time in it, so I got to give him credit. Ben really is the reason that we got introduced here on the show to the Michigan Dirt Cup guys. He told me a long time ago, it was probably over a year ago, started talking about Jacob Poole and John Rocco and a couple other guys, and ever since then we've had several of you guys on. So I enjoy talking to Michigan Dirt Cup people, especially I want to try to get up there and film some races. You get up here, we'll show you a good time.
That's what I'm talking about, brother. Hey, I won't be like Denny Hamlin was at Bowersock. I mean, I will drink all your beer. Oh,
we'll have plenty of it.
If you have a cooler of it, because I have three favorite beers, Josh.
Okay.
Free beer, your beer, and cold beer.
We got it all.
And then Coors Light. Coors Light's my fourth favorite beer.
Well, we can throw some of those in the cooler.
Yeah, I mean, I'll drink anything for free that's cold and that's yours, Brian. But if I got to buy it, I'll buy Coors Light. That's my drinking beer. I mean, if I was going to buy good beer, buy Guinness or Killian's or Fat Tire or.
How is that good? Explain to me, and I'm not criticizing. I'm scared to even attempt to try to drink Guinness. Because it reminds me. It looks like used motor oil.
It does. You're right.
And it doesn't even look like good used motor oil.
It is. I drank the extra stout. Not to turn this into a beer show, but I drank a couple extra stouts the other night. And the first couple drinks of the first one, I was like, "This is different." But if you got to just drink the first one, and then you're fine. I think it paralyzes your taste buds. And then you can drink. Once that happens, you can drink any kind of crap. Then it's easy.
Yeah. You make it up here, though. Definitely look us up, and if we don't race good, we'll at least show you a good time.
I hear you, brother. Well, all right. Well, Josh, I appreciate you joining us, and I really appreciate you listening. And thanks for coming on. And have you ever been to that 22 Below, the sponsored pool? Is that near you?
No, I haven't been. No.
I got to get to that place.
That's like a 2-hour drive for me.
Oh. It's going to be a 15-hour drive for me if I come to Michigan, so I'll have to hit all the spots. But all right, we appreciate you. Josh, for coming on, and good luck in the late models, and certainly let us know how you're doing this year, and we'll have you back on.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate it too. I really enjoyed this.
Not a problem. Josh Gurn. Can I call you the Bear Lake Badass? Have you got a nickname yet?
I haven't got one yet.
You are the Bear.
He's got one now.
Bear Lake
got
Badass.
One now.
There you go. The Bear Lake
for me.
Badass, Mr. Josh Gurn. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And we're naming people. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got the person that I dropped a minute ago.
Yeah, I've got messages coming in all over the place. Did you hear the ding?
Oh, well, I can hear. What I can tell is I can tell when your attention is lost. So
I mean,
I try not to send you many messages while you're talking, and because I do the same thing. I start hearing the dings, and I'm clicking here, and I've got like 5 windows opened up on the computer.
Yeah,
so I'm looking at the board. I'm trying to answer calls just like with Miss Richardson on the line. I pick it up. I say, "Oh, I know who you are. Just hang on a second and put it back on so you can hear the show." So, yeah, it's kind of getting hard to do all of this, Webb. There's a lot going on here lately.
We are multitaskers. Also, don't forget, we also have Randy Weaver to join us next. We'll have Bub McCool. I did schedule a show for 2 hours a night, so I knew for some reason we'd be along with everybody. But let's do this. Oh wait, let me finish. Randy Weaver to follow Miss Richardson. We also have Bub McCool, and then to the last guest before we get to my top 25, my Dirt on Dirt top 25 would be Ryan Atkins out of North Carolina. He was the winner of the Skylar Troll $3,000 to win portion of that event. But let's welcome to the program. Her nickname is, we can't name her, she's already got one, Lightning Liz, Elizabeth Richardson. How are you, ma'am?
Good, and you?
We are just, you got a little sample of it before you come on, acting like retards, so bear with us.
We were just giving Josh Gurn his new nickname.
Yeah, he's from Bear Lake, so we didn't know what to call him other than Badass, so he's the Bear Lake Badass. But you have Lightning Liz. What part of Texas do you come from? Justin, I see, right?
Yeah. It's about 2 minutes from Texas Motor Speedway.
Now, the interesting thing, here's what caught my eye. I always see people on Facebook, and for whatever reason, I saw a picture somewhere of you in your sprint car and your horse. So you have 2 passions that involve horsepower. First, talk to us about the horse riding. Is it a competition deal for you?
No, I just like riding. It's a good way to unwind.
So you don't do barrels, you don't run the Kentucky Derby, none of that?
No, I wish I could, but racing takes up pretty much every bit of my time.
So, and now I'm sure, what kind of a sprint car is it? Because I'm not familiar. I mean, I came across you and I was like, we don't have enough girls. Come on, we find them when we can, and someone just tell us no. So explain to us what type of sprint car you guys are driving and how you got to be in sprint car racing.
It's gonna be a 305 sprint car, and I've raced go-karts for about 8 years. And when we decided it was time to move up, we were looking around a lot, and we went up to Knoxville for a national kart race. And just watching the sprint cars up in Knoxville, I just knew then that's what I wanted to do. So. Did
you have family members that were in racing prior to? I mean, did your dad race or your mom race, or I mean, how did it come about that you got into a go-kart?
My grandpa raced many, many years ago, and he's the one that actually got me started before he passed away.
Now we were talking to Josh, and he said that his dad wouldn't watch him race go-karts, his mom would. So who was the tougher of the two, your mom or your dad? Who did they both watch, or one or the other?
Both of them are very, very supportive of my racing. They're at every race. My dad's my crew chief. My mom's definitely #1 fan.
So I mean, through the years, you're obviously a veteran of the sport. Through the years, have you come into any? I mean, what's the dumbest thing a guy said to you when it comes to racing?
Someone told me that I don't need to be racing because I'm a girl. and that I was weak.
And then you put him in the wall, right?
No, I just beat him.
So did you actually get to beat that guy after he told you that?
I didn't actually beat him up. I just beat him on the track.
No, that's what I meant. I mean, if you would have said you punched him in the mouth, that would have been even better. But no, I mean, you got to actually beat him on the speedway after he'd said all that to you?
Yeah.
Did he have anything cute to say after that?
Well, I don't think he's talked to me since then.
All right, so one of the questions that I wanted to talk to you about is obviously Danica Patrick making big news, sits on a pole at Daytona. As a girl racer, as a female racer, what is your opinion of how the media is handling Danica?
I think she's definitely a talented driver. She's got a lot of potential behind her. She just needs to work, she needs more experience in seat time. But, she definitely didn't come across as herself when she first did her marketing with the whole GoDaddy thing. So I think now that she's coming out as her true self, I think, it's kind of she's having to backtrack and then go forward as a real professional driver who wants to put themselves forward as great competition.
Oh, so you're of the opinion that the GoDaddy campaign is maybe gave it she can't lose that what's the word, Brian? But
image.
That image, that stigma that comes along with because those commercials were pretty stupid, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't think that was who she really was. She doesn't seem like that kind of person.
Now,
she's more like.
See, my thing is I don't even really know who she is as a person because it just seems like she's just a marketing gimmick and that's it. Because I know I honestly don't see her talent.
Hey, Miss Liz, what does your parents tell you about image and of course, I mean, being 15, I mean, you're probably there's only so much you can do anywhere, and you wouldn't dream of doing some things that like Danica's done. But how important what is image when it comes to how your parents and you market yourself?
My parents definitely just encourage me to always be myself. Don't put up a false act. Be who you really are. Because if they don't, or if the sponsors see who you really are, then they're either going to love you or they're not. And I think I need to find someone who fits who I am rather than I need to change to who they are.
So is your ambition? Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Right. So here's the thing. What are your goals? Do you aspire to be in NASCAR, or what is it that drives you as a racer? What are you leaning towards? Ultimately, what do you expect?
The late models?
No, sprint cars.
Sprint cars. I'm sorry, you cut out on us. So you want to go to sprint cars? Go, continue.
I'm getting into sprint cars now, and just watching the World of Outlaw guys, what kind of show they put on and the driving skills they show, I definitely would love to be as good as they are, and I would love to race with them. So World of Outlaws is definitely my goal right now.
Now, see, that's respectable from a racing standpoint, Webb, and from my position here, because that's something that driving a sprint car is something that absolutely takes a certain amount of talent to be good.
And nerve, because I think it's the craziest form of racing in the world.
Right. Well, see, racing in itself takes a certain amount of nerves too, Webb, because a lot of people don't realize it's not just what you are blind to, being blind to the fear, to the speed, to all that stuff, but at the same time, it's such a serious mental aspect. Just think about it. You're running over 100 miles an hour, and you got somebody next to you, and you're on a surface that it's not forgiving. It's absolutely going to drive you where it decides to drive you. So, I mean, that takes a certain amount of, I wouldn't say courage, But you have to have. Oh, I'm losing the words here. It's kind of like being tough under fire, I guess.
Yeah, the sprint cars. I mean, I filmed them one time at Talladega, and it's just those things are just. I just don't know that I could react quick enough. So obviously the 305 is not as big as the World of Outlaw sprint car as far as motor and whatnot. But I mean, what do you do to work on your reaction? Because you have to be split-second thinking, split-second reaction. I mean, is there exercises you do to keep everything where it needs to be as far as your motor skills?
I play tennis, which helps a lot because you have to be focused on the ball. So that helps. I know a lot of racers do iRacing. Just gotta be able to focus. It just takes a lot of practice to be able to react super quick.
Well, just to let you know, buddy of mine named Bobby Kimbrough, he writes for OneDirt.com. He's pretty stoked that you want to be a sprint car driver because not a lot of people choose that path anymore. So, yeah, has your season started yet? I mean, it's already March. I know Texas doesn't have the winter that most of the country has, but have you guys started racing yet?
Some tracks around here have. We haven't started racing yet. We don't have our engine completely together. We've got most of the parts on order, so we should be ready to start racing hopefully by the end of the month.
All right. Well, where is your guys' give us a little bit of your schedule. What's your first couple races going to be starting 2013?
Well, we're hoping to run at least 2 races a month. That's what we're hoping our bare minimum is. Maybe 40 if we can get it in. Our first race, we're aiming for the 28th of March, which will be out at Grand Prairie.
Well, Elizabeth, I certainly appreciate you taking time out of your Monday to speak with us. Before we let you get out of here, I want you to thank any of your sponsors and also any of the crew members that help keep that sprint car together for you.
I'd like to thank my mom and my dad for just being able to help me along with this, our JS Motorsports for building our motor, the Mountains, the Stays, the people out at Camp Cartway for supporting me so much, and Anna Marie at Marketing at Full Speed for helping me to get where I am today.
Well, make sure that you keep in contact with me on Facebook, and that way, if you guys pick up a big win or something, we'll have you back on, talk about it. But certainly, nice to have met you. I try to get on as many as the other genre of motorsports. We're late model heavy here on the show, but we try to get as many of the other genres involved. So good luck in 2013, and nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Not a problem. Miss Elizabeth Richardson, you guys can catch her around Texas in her 305 sprint car. Pretty articulate girl for 15. I mean, of course, I've not met... I mean, you can't be, I guess, at 14 or 15 and be immature. I mean, who would let you in a race car, right?
Well, I mean, you pretty much can be immature if you want. But
well, that's probably why I don't have a race car.
It depends on how much money your daddy's got.
My dad's got all his money wrapped up in his he's got one of them stage 3 Rouches. It's pretty nice. He said I can have the motor when he goes. He's going to get buried in it. I'm going to have it melted down and built in and repoured as a Chevy motor. Well, all right. I'm sorry, Webb. I'm getting... You know, I mentioned that left rear on Eric McCree's car. Justin McCree, yeah.
So I... What?
Well, it's Justin McCree is who you're referring
Justin
to.
McCree. So where did I get Eric from? Because I'm looking at this guy here, Eric. So I'm getting these messages. Hey, what do you know about this? What do you know about that?
Well, that's
and one of them is Josh. Josh just messaged me.
Well, now that's not the car he's in now. Now he builds his own. It's called a high roller. Remember, it's that front end geometry stuff he's working with now.
Right. He's talking about he was talking about some of the front end geometry stuff, but he's also got the little trick left rear. Trust me, I got photos. I got photos.
Well, let's just keep going.
Alcorn and his connections, they love taking pictures, and they figured out how to get around that reflective tape.
Well, let's welcome to the program. He's been on before. Randy Weaver, you go up to Cleveland Speedway, and you pick up the victory at the Shamrock.
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
I was at a dang wedding all weekend, and again, let me reiterate to in my family that might be listening, I was happy to be there. But some of the best racing took place of the season, whether it be at Pelican or at Cleveland, where you were at. How many slide jobs were pulled in the top 5 over the course of the race? Did you lose count?
I lost count. When it started, I was hoping they'd just be one, but it turned into several, and it just started out being one of those nights. We in the heat race, we got in the bottom, I think, before some other guys knew it was there, and drove up by Owens and some of them guys that's on top of their game. So I felt like we had a good car. I just didn't need to mess it up in the feature, and we got in the feature and had a good race car and just sit there and kind of bided our time. And then Billy snuck around us, and I realized it was time to race. So we put on a good show for the fans. I was just glad to be part of it. The fans need that, and the series and promoters. And, I hate hearing about the train races, and everybody's got an answer to how to fix tracks after the race is over. So I was finally glad to be involved in one that everybody just walked away shaking their head, couldn't believe it. So that was great.
Brian, I don't know if you've seen the lineup that was there, but let me just give you a snippet of who was on the track. And I'll start from the back. Steve Casebolt, who we just had on from the Bama Bash. William Thomas, Jimmy Owens was in the back of the pack at the finish. Scott Bloomquist was in the back of the pack. Let's see here. Jason Hyatt, he's a good regional hot shoe. Moving ahead, you got Skip Harp, Chris Madden, Jonathan Davenport, Jake Knowles, Eric Wells, Clint Smith, Ray Cook, Dale McDowell, Billy Ogle, and Mike Marler. And Randy,
pretty much the best of the best.
I mean, he's raced against nearly the whole top 25 Dirt on Dirt's got. And by the way, Randy, I moved you up in my poll. You're in the top 10 now, my friend. At least I voted that way.
Yeah, but what you're forgetting here, Webb, is that Randy Weaver is no joke.
No, I've known Randy for a while. I just think the things have come together for you, Randy. You guys talked about this after you picked up the Southern All-Star Championship, that you were going to be going to these events and moving and hitting these big events. Are you guys where you thought you were going to be when you decided to move away from doing the series thing?
We're getting close. First of all, Chip, Stone, and Rusty, man, they do whatever it takes to make sure I've got the right equipment, anything we need, and I've never had that in my racing career. And a lot of people thought we did, and we always keep really neat, nice stuff. I just think you need to show respect and do that for all your sponsors, but sometimes it wasn't always as good as it looked, But now I've got pretty much whatever I need, and we're building 2 more cars right now, and that was our new car at the Bama Bash. That was the second time out at Cleveland in it. I didn't race it at Boyd's, but I think we still got a little bit to go, and I know when we get out on the road a little bit and go to some places I hadn't been, there's going to be some curves thrown at us. But as far as equipment and resources, I put it up against any ride in the country. It is really that good. So when you add Outlaw Race Parts and BP and Owens and Hoosier and everybody else that jumps on and helps us, like I told somebody the other day before the race even started, if I can't get it done now, I'm just one of them guys that never could get it done. So I'm really excited that we got that one out of the way, and maybe, got a little bit of respect and maybe surprised a few people, but I hope it just continues because I've got a really good group of guys, and everybody's happy about what's going on, and you don't have to win for everybody to be happy. So that's the part I like.
And I got to throw this out there, Webb.
Oh, go ahead.
And now Randy's got all these cars, so just in case you guys ever need to, you want to trailer an extra one along, I'm available.
Okay.
And anytime, anywhere, you just give me a call and we'll just run right on down there. Okay.
I'll keep that in mind.
The performance.
I think I could fit right in your seat too. I know I could.
Oh yeah, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Well, the performance there didn't shock me. I watched the highlights, and the performance reminded me, and I was there 2 years, I think it was 2 years ago, when you and Madden went door-to-door for, it seemed like, over half the race. What is it about Cleveland that just, one, gives the fans that kind of racing, and two, allows you to race like that and run up front and be there for the wins? Because when you race like that, it's almost you got to be at the right place at the right time to get the checker flag.
Well, that's true. I mean, anywhere you go, I mean, Casebo proved that at the Bama Bash.
Well,
you know, and he had a good car to get him there. So, I mean, everything's got to fall in place. But the thing that for years and years people don't understand, I mean, I was so terrible at Cleveland. I got to where we would avoid that place, and it's only, you know, hour and a half from home. But finally, we just kept on going and plugging away and got the hang of something there. And then now that we're in our new cars, that we kind of redesigned their GRT cars, but then we've got our own little thing we do to them, and Joe's okay with that. So, you know, it just works out good. We're not, I tell people all the time, it ain't like I'm no engineer, I know everything, but I do know what works for me. And we just now finally got the resources that'll let us do that at 100%, besides having to get an older car and doing 10% of it of what we could do. So this way we got to redesign our own deal, put our own parts on it, do everything in-house that we thought we needed to do. And, you know, it kind of makes you nervous because your sponsors spend a lot of money and they go out on a limb hoping you know what you're talking about, and then, you know, to unload that thing and run third at the bash and had some new car blues there, some little items that we had to fix, but then to roll out the second time and win a race like that against that field. I mean, when I rode out my heat race and it was Jimmy and Wells and Clanton and Madden and Davenport, I thought everybody's going to get a 10-lap feature right here. I mean, it was loaded. I thought, why didn't they just put Scott and Dale in it and we just call it a night, you know? So it was a good shot in the arm for us. At least we know we're going in the right direction.
Well, you got to tell me something here, because I think I'm on about lap number 12 of you and Ogle changing lead.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're leading down the back stretch, and then he's back around you on the front stretch, and then you guys. I mean, what's going on? What was going through your mind there, where you guys were just changing position like that every single lap?
Well, I mean, I knew everybody was about on the same tire choice, so I thought that if anything, they would fade towards the end. But sometimes lap traffic gets so crazy at that place. I knew my car seemed like it was better, so I thought, well, I might as well commit and get on in here. But then when you commit to a slide job, it always, of course, messes up your exit, and you sit up there forever, seems like. And then Ogle's raced enough, he turns back down. And the thing you're concentrating on the most, it ain't how hard you can get in there and beat him up to the corner. It's how fast can you get slowed down from going sideways and try to beat him back to the next, you know. And that's what it kind of ended up being. Once I knew he was just at my left rear tire going down the back chute, then I still had to drive in as hard as I did when I was trying to slide him to beat him to that point. Well, I think that surprised him, and then his car wasn't as good. He told me in Victory Lane after it was over, and then once I was there, of course, he couldn't quit sliding, and then he got up on my left rear and smoke road, and, you know, like I said, it felt to me like when I pulled out on the front straightaway in Victory Lane that I'd hit the winning run in the World Series. I mean, the crowd stayed, they was cheering, and it ain't because everybody's Randy Weaver fans, because everybody don't like Fenella. You know, I don't expect everybody to like me or anybody else. You know, everybody's got favorites, and that's what makes our sport go. But they at least stayed and just cheered because it was a good show to watch. And, you know, like I said, everybody needed that, from promoters to race teams to fans. So that's what was cool about it.
Well, it looked like the race was pretty much nonstop action, Webb. Like I said, I counted, I think, 15 laps of Ogle and Weaver changing position. Then you got Dale McDowell in there, and he's beating and banging on Ogle. And then there's Marlar coming in there, and I mean, it's crazy. I'm still seeing action. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what's
watching
good
the
about
race
it.
right now as we're talking.
On the Cleveland racetrack, I mean, it's weird because, you know, if you just happen to go there sometime and before the race or after, just walk around the racetrack. You can even just walk around the infield. And when you look, especially down that front chute, I mean, you'd think there's no way you could have a good race there. It's just tight quarters. But when you race against some of the best in the country, it allows you to do that. But hats off to Cleveland, too, because when we hot lapped, I didn't say nothing, but in the back of my mind, I thought, man, why do they try to get this thing so wet when all these big guys come to town? Because everybody races there, you know, pretty much on and off all year. They've got a starting point. They try to go in and be the best they can be, and then you throw a lot of traction at it, and it messes all your local and regional guys up a little bit. But then I see by the time we wore all that down and got to the feature, I mean, they hit it right on the head, you know, and, you know, and it's hard to do that. There's no doubt that's hard to do. But I think they done it at the very perfect time for not only them, but everybody else.
Did you get to see any of the crate race, Randy?
I did not.
Hey, Brian, and Randy, one of our former co-hosts, Kyle May, he sat on the pole for that thing, Brian. And yeah, Kyle May used to be one of our co-hosts on the show, but yeah, the Old Man's Garage 56 car, he parked the thing on the pole for the feature, and I hadn't talked to him yet. I certainly hadn't seen any highlights, but he finished second. So congratulations, Kyle May. He had a very good weekend at Cleveland. Hey, Randy, real quick, Randy, you guys have a new paint scheme on that car, the one you debuted over at Green Valley, and of course the one you guys won in the other night. What's the story behind the? Is it red, white, and black, or red, white, and blue?
It's red, white, and black, and me and Brett at Rhino Wraps, I actually worked on that for 2 solid days with him, coming up with something that kind of coincided with our business logo, which was, you know, red, white, and black, and sometimes they put blue on the race parts, but we wanted to get something that was where we could look a little bit more professional, so we done that, and then we also, you know, from our pit cart to our crew shirts and, you know, even our souvenir trailer, which they couldn't get it to the bash, but we got all of our stuff in. They took it to Cleveland. So it's just a deal where we're trying to step out and just let everybody know that, you know, we're serious about it, and we're trying to be as professional as we can and have everything looking good for maybe some TV races, or, you know, just to override that thought a lot of people still have about dirt racers. You know, they just think it's a bunch of decides on Saturday afternoon, let's load up an old car and go dirt race, and then once they come and look, and, you know, it just might bring some other sponsors to the sport, and they don't always have to help me. They could sponsor a race or whatever. So we just try to get stepped up and be a little bit closer to that top tier like a lot of them guys do.
Well, I loved when I first saw it. I was like, I love the new car. Randy, thanks for joining us. I know after a weekend of racing, you guys probably have better things to do to talk to us, but we really appreciate you taking time out of your Monday evening. Before we let you get out of here, thank the crew, and also thank some of their sponsors that make that 116 take the checker.
Well, I appreciate it. But I got to thank GRT, of course, Burke Transmission, Cornet Ford Racing Engines, Hoosier Tire, Kaiser Wheels, Olin Shocks, VP Racing Fuel, the Bailey Company, and then, of course, Chip and Rusty Stone, and then Outlaw Race Parts, of course. It's all over all of our stuff with Doug Johnson up at the warehouse. So it takes a lot of them to keep me going, but I couldn't do it without them, and I do appreciate it.
Randy, I'm going to make a prediction. I think we're going to probably talk to you a lot this year, so good luck with the rest of the season, and, well, I'm sure I'll see you at the racetrack.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Randy Weaver, Outlaw Race Parts, 116. Big win at the Shamrock. We're still waiting to get Bub McCool on the line. Now, have you watched those highlights yet, Brian?
The Pelican 100. I watched some of it, and I was going through, and it kind of pretty much looks like McCool just ran away with it.
Well, you get to if you get towards the middle of the highlights there. I don't know if it's Wall and Don O'Neill were driving similar cars, so it's kind of hard to keep up with who was who. But I think it was Chris Wall.
See, that was the other thing that I was wondering. I see 71. How many damn 71 cars are they going to let race at the same time?
Well, for Don O'Neill has been coming down south here and racing with the children. Well, 2 or 3 times now with the Childress team that sponsors Chris Wall. But prior to that relationship, when the Intimigator had his own team or whatever, he had Don down to the 2 Mississippi races running one of his other 71 cars. So this is not a new relationship. I'll tell you what we're going to do. While we're trying to wait on Bub, I just sent word for them to call. Let's see, let me make sure if it's
top 25.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Let's go ahead and go over my top 25. And today it snuck up on me. You know, I wasn't home all weekend, and so I voted. I voted how I felt for sure.
You think I threw Rouch and Scott off with the car owner thing?
Oh, I don't think so. Why?
You don't think so? I was just wondering.
No, I wouldn't. About the car owner that had no balls?
Yeah, and you know, like I mean, it wasn't no offense.
It's not totally true though. I mean, Stapleton was a car owner for a couple races, wasn't he? He's got plenty of balls, don't he?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right. So while we're waiting, and hopefully this. I
mean, he might have little ones.
Jeez. Well, the top 25 this week. The one thing about this poll that is incredibly hard that I find incredibly hard to do is what do you do with guys that didn't race? And
if they didn't race, it's negative.
Well, the thing is though, you know, it's like Burkhofer. Burkhofer is still a top 25 guy, I think, no matter if he hasn't raced yet.
But Webb, look here, it's like this. If you don't race, it doesn't matter how good you are.
But you can't be punished for your season not starting yet. I mean, you can't punish a guy because he didn't travel. And that's what I...
Yeah, you never know. I mean, with this stuff, you just never know.
What I'm trying to do...
You mean to tell me that if Brian Burkhofer called up down at Outlaw Race Parts and said, hey, I'm not racing this week. You guys are going to this big show at Cleveland. You got an extra car? I'll come down and drive it. You think they'd say no?
No, they probably wouldn't say no. Now, if I'm just not penalizing guys for that. Now, I have dropped a few people to the wayside. I can't even remember now who. Let me just start at 25. 25, I bring Walker Arthur into the top 25. The green 87, green and white 87. He's had some really strong runs running with us. He had a third place finish there at the Duck River at the end of the year. The Deep Fried 75. He was racing door to door with Vic Hill and Ray Cook right there at the end. So he's just been really strong. I've seen him race a bunch in the last 3 or 4 months. He's been really, really strong. He picks up a pretty decent win, and he beats Brian Shirley, who I have sitting in the top 10. And then Brian Shirley turns around the next night and wins the toilet bowl deal at Clarksville. I've yet to watch the highlights there.
I think that's the beauty of dirt racing is that one night a guy could just have a terrible night and the track conditions change, and the next night he's on the rail.
Yeah, well, Walker Shirley finished second to Walker the night before, so that's why I still got Brian where I got him and letting Walker in the door at 25. Landers is at 24. I probably could have dropped him out with some other performances that I've seen. Eric Wells, 23. Oh, I bring Bub McCool into the top 25 at 22. I mean, he raced. He was holding off Don O'Neill, Chris Wall, and Billy Moyer. So that deserves to be ranked in the top 25. That's in the top 25 performance. Above him, 21, we got Earl Pearson Jr. still. Stovall didn't have a terrible week. Top 10 finish up there, and there were some pretty good cars there at the Toilet Bowl. Jimmy Mars at 19, Ray Cook at 18. Still got Fager at 17, and Shannon Babb at 16. Case Bolt dropped, I think, 2 or 3 spots in my poll this week. He's at 15. 14 is Brian Burkhofer. 13, Mike Marlar. I dropped Billy Moyer, and I actually dropped Tim McCready. Each of them dropped 1 spot because I had to move Randy in the top 10. So 12 is Billy Moyer. Number 11, Tim McCready. And number 10, Randy Weaver. He's made it into my top 10 anyway. We'll see what he does nationally. Then the Squirrel at 9, Brian Shirley. Dennis Herb Jr. My top 9 really didn't change much. Herb at 8, Francis 7, Jimmy Owens. You know, I didn't judge Jimmy Owens and Scott Bloomquist the same that I judged some of the guys in the lower part of the poll because they have such an upside to them. Jimmy Owens and Bloomquist do. Even though they did terrible and finished like 20th and 21st or 21st and 22nd at the Shamrock, I didn't judge them the same because of their upside, like I said. So they stayed where they were. 4 Bloomquist, Clanton 5, 6 Jimmy Owens.
So they get a little dirt track hero legendary bonus.
Well, it's not that I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt because 9 times out of 10 this season they're going to be racing the top 25, and so they race the competition week in and week out.
But isn't it the top 25 this week?
Well, yeah, it is.
Okay,
but I still think you have to have some sort of consistency with. Because if your top 10 change every week, then that makes you. It can't be that fluid at the top. The cream is the cream, right?
Yeah, but sometimes people spit on it and it sinks.
Well, I know. Don't get me wrong. If Bloomer or Jimmy, start finishing in the 20s a lot, by all means.
But here's something that you got to look at. Okay, so like the kid you put in 25th, he had a really good week, and you had to put him on there just because you had to put him up there because he deserved it. But if he doesn't perform next week, he's not going to be in the top 25, right?
No. And again, now I'm just one of 28 or 30, whatever it is.
Right.
And this is all. Yeah, but I think too, it's all about perception. It's all about like the Walker Arthur, the guy Walker. That's the hardest name to say. Walker Arthur. I'm giving him his shot at the top 25 because of what I've seen him do in the past, and then to go and get a win against competition. Now,
do you remember exactly how Bloomer and Owens did? They were at Cleveland, right?
Yeah, like I said, they finished 21st or 22nd, I believe. And
Cleveland is kind of their home track, kind of. It's in that region.
You would think. Morristown.
You would think they've had some laps around that place.
And yeah, I've seen Jimmy win there, and I've seen. Well, I haven't seen. I don't think I've ever seen Bloomer do well there. Last time he was there,
they got stomped.
Stomped bad. Yeah, it was bad. And I probably maybe given too much of a benefit.
And here's
of the
thing: you still had Marlar up front.
Yeah, so I did.
Dale McDowell, who by the way is. I don't know. I like Jared Landers, but I don't know why McDowell isn't over there at Boyer still. I don't know what happened there.
Don't. I like Jared too. Jared's is a pretty fun guy, but he won last year. Once over there at Lone Star. I was there for that race. He won, and he drove like you saw maybe when he won the topless.
It just seems like the kid's on a decline, though.
Sometimes people get comfortable. Maybe he's just comfortable.
And I hope he's not taking the fall. That's what I'm getting at. I hope we're not seeing the fall of him. I hope there's more to come. But I'm afraid that's happening. It just seems like I'm seeing the signs. Is that an okay prediction to make?
Yeah,
it's something to watch.
He just doesn't seem like it's like an evolution. God, he was horrible. Horrible. And I'm pretty sure he won one of the dashes at the end of the night. and he jumped. So he won the dash, and he drove to the pits. Like, I don't think his head's in it for whatever reason, because you're supposed to come to the front stretch and get interviewed for the pay-per-view and all that. He drove all the way to the pits, and we had to wait on him to drive all the way back out. And then it was just like, I mean, of course, it was just a dash, and it was just a consolation race of sorts. And but anyway, I don't know.
Right, I'm sitting here. I watched the Pelican. I seen Moyer catching McCool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking, Webb, that race goes on a few more laps, and Moyer's got him beat, brother. And you docked him.
He's got to do it within the confines of the race. I can't judge him on if he had a few more laps.
I know, but see, you're talking about the driver of the week.
I understand, but results are in the pudding. I mean, he needs to get on his horse sooner to get to the checkered flag. I mean, if he runs out of laps, well, I didn't say he ran out of talent.
Moyer, you better get on. You got to get on it a little bit sooner. You shouldn't have went with the 1600. You maybe should have went with the 1575. I don't know.
And it's been a bit of struggle this year. He may not want to come out and admit it, but I think people are starting to say that he's struggling this year. To finish out my top 25, O'Neill at 3, Lanigan, of course, 2, and Josh Richards at number 1. So not much change in the top 9 or 10. 10 being Randy Weaver. He jumps in there. I see Randy Weaver being between 10 and 14 tomorrow when it comes out.
Where did Josh Richards race at this weekend?
He didn't race that I'm aware of.
Where'd Lanigan race at?
He didn't race. I'm hoping to see at least one of those two at Florence.
Dude, you're going to have to start docking them guys. I'm telling you.
Well, but they're getting.
You're going to be driver of the week. You better be racing somewhere.
Well, it's kind of like the college football. It's not really driver of the week.
I'm going to start justifying myself. I haven't been racing. I'm going to start. You got to start ranking me in there. I haven't ran any races. I should have a good ranking by now.
Should I vote for you one time? You'll get your name. You'll get your name at the bottom.
Credit yourself.
No, I won't.
You're not going to take this seriously, Webb. You're fired.
No, I'm taking it serious. Oh, Donald Trump.
All right. Well, you can justify that Josh Richards and Darrell Lanigan should be in the top 10.
Well, of course you can.
Justify.
Yeah.
But you got to start docking those guys if they're not going to be racing.
But it's early spring, and if it was like June, then I would come June, if you're not racing or if you skip a week, whatever, and somebody behind you has a good week, you're dropping.
If the World of Outlaws is not racing the weekend of the North-South 100, and Darrell Lanigan doesn't show up at Florence, can we make fun of him?
Didn't we last year?
I mean, no, this time we got to really do something good. I mean, there's enough out there.
Yeah, we can. We can make fun of him.
Okay. And I'm no holds barred kind of thing too.
Oh well, I mean,
I'm talking get kicked off the air kind of bad.
We can't get kicked off the air.
That's right. That's the beauty. Nobody can fire us. We're unfireable.
Well, all right. Well, let's. We've got. I guess we're not going to talk to McCool tonight. I can't get them to respond. So.
Hey, there's a bunch of callers here. I didn't notice that. Sorry.
Well, that's the Carolina bunch right there. I know who these guys are. Let's welcome to the program real quick. A buddy of mine, Jason Atkins. Jason is with the flagtoflag.net. He sponsors drivers, not sponsors drivers, but helps drivers with sponsorship, helps companies connect to drivers. Jason, welcome to In the Dirt.
How are you, buddy?
Is this Jason?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I said, welcome to the program. How's things at Flag to Flag?
Things are good, man. I'd actually just logged in to listen to the rest of the show, and I actually had my phone on mute, actually, to absorb all the intellectual conversation between you and your co-host there. But, I appreciate the brief chance to have me on a couple of minutes before your next guest.
Not a problem. we've seen you at Imus. I know you guys had a pretty successful test at the Charlotte dirt track. Am I to understand there's another one planned?
Yeah, we did. We had a really good test. Our car count was down from our test from last fall for a variety of reasons. It's, the wintertime, is still kind of lingering around this area, and then we had some teams that were coming back from Florida that had not had the opportunity to kind of recoup. That was took a pretty extensive toll on some of those teams for the commitment down there, so that hurt our car count a little bit. And then, of course, some of our local teams are just now getting, their pieces finalized. So when we had the test there, a week or 10 days ago, and it was a tough time, temperatures in the upper 40s, teams coming back from Florida, some still trying to get ready for, this past weekend's kind of big opener around here. So it kind of hurt our car count a little bit, but the track was in great shape, and then the ones that were able to come test, got a huge value, which is, was obvious this past weekend, at the Scholar Troll. A lot of our guys that actually come to test performed very well. So we hope we had a little bit to do with that, but, those guys have good programs anyway. But, so things are good. We are, we're excited about this season. We have a new package or a new addition to our green flag package, which is, totally complimentary on behalf of the company and our supporters, where we're adding an additional reporting mechanism for, the companies on behalf of the drivers, which is of no obligation. It's an additional thing that we felt like would help introduce more teams to our program, with no upfront financial obligation. And we kicked that off this weekend. It's called the Weekend Wrap-Up, so you can check it out on via Twitter or on flight2flight.net, via our Facebook page. It's kind of a little brief summary that kind of recaps, our drivers' performances for our team members, and then we can go in later on down the road and itemize that out for specific companies, if they so desire. So we hope that draws some interest and can show teams that we are committed to increasing their exposure to the companies, and at the same time or simultaneously trying to increase, the exposure of the company's products and services directly to their clientele, which is, our number one networking goal to begin with. So, we hope that has some value moving forward, and we appreciate what you guys do here within the dirt and giving us an opportunity to give us a platform to speak about our products and services, and most importantly, the drivers and companies that support it.
And okay, let's say a driver's listening and they're looking for services that you provide. What would be a good introductory portion of what you do? Is that the green flag package? Is that the introductory package?
Yes, sir. We have three basic packages. Now, we do a wide variety of itemized services. We do some sponsorship proposals. We do some racetrack and race series consulting. We're working with a couple of those as we speak, just based on not necessarily that we know everything that's happened, but with what little bit of experience that I've had with racetracks and series. And then also, much more important has been, the listening ear of all of our team members. And when you get all that feedback from a driver and a fan's perspective, the fans being the ones that follow the drivers that we cover, you can take that data and at least tell a race, series promoter or a racetrack promoter what the driver and the fan's looking for. So, we feel like that has value. There's a lot of truth to the saying that perception is reality. So if you can understand your market, being the driver and the fan, the better you understand that hopefully it will, be a direct correlation to being successful in what you're doing. But outside of the individualized services, we do have three basic packages, and they are called green, white, and checkered, to remain synonymous, with the name of our company. And our green flag is an introductory package, which gives the racer an online profile. These gives him a virtual, platform to kind of, at least establish his name or his team's name, and then establish an identity. And we also just introduced, today actually, went out a few hours earlier, we call the Weekend Wrap-Up. Well, what we do with that is we take the race results of those teams, and let's just say a local guy here in the Carolinas, and he runs the part, or the service of a company that's in Michigan. Well, it's hard to grasp the whole nation racing in all various forms of divisions, but if we can kind of give that company a Cliff Note version of drivers that are advocating their products and services, under I guess our banner, it at least gets that driver a little exposure to that, in case that company didn't have the opportunity to know how he or she driver ran this weekend. But at the same time, it may also turn that driver on and open up to a new relationship to understand more in depth what various companies are out there for them. So that's the big push we're making with that green flag, and making that available at no upfront financial investment will hopefully, explore or I guess expose the racing community to what our ultimate goal is, which is to bond and directly connect, the company and the racer. And then we have additional services with the white and checker flag packages, which some of our drivers have taken advantage of. Our white flag has a various variety of discounts and rebates available with companies that have partnered with us. And then our checker flag would be our, I guess you would call our full tilt package, which includes newsletter communications, social media, et cetera, for those teams that have had long-standing relationships that they want to try to insulate. So, our goal is to have obviously have something that would fulfill any driver's need, beginning from someone who's just starting, or if you go down the road with someone that's already established, and hopefully all points in between.
Well, it's an exciting time right now over in the Carolinas when it comes to, racing in general is exciting in the Carolinas, but it's also another reason to be excited in the Carolinas is the car show moving to Charlotte. I know you've been a participant in that show. I think every year they've had it. What's it mean to a company like yours to now be in the midst of basically a national show?
I think it's a huge thing. I was talking with the gentleman behind the show actually last week, and the move to Charlotte, any time that you take and those guys are really working hard to make that they already are a first class show, but to kind of shed the label of a regional name or a regional show and take it to the national level. Well, moving to Charlotte, I totally understand and respect where they're going with that. They ran 2 years there in Hickory, North Carolina, and I thought the show went great both years. We were, fortunate to be a part of it both years, and we hope to be a part of it coming up here, for the next year when they move to Charlotte. But it's almost like, that Charlotte is synonymous with racing kind of theme or theory or vibe, and I think you understand where I'm coming from. I hope it draws, the attention of companies even outside the regional area. And I think we saw in this past year, so they had more nationally acclaimed companies come participate. So, with the merger with the IMIS and PRI, or if you want to call it a merger of being bought out or combo into one show, it is going to kind of go back to a two-theme show. I think in the long run, it will be good. It's important for us at Flag to Flag. A lot of our clientele, being that we are based in Charlotte, is in this local and regional area. At times I've considered going to the other shows, and if our company continues to experience growth, I hope we have the ability to do that, to expand outside this area. But we feel like it's imperative, to insulate our clientele by being a part of that show. So we look forward to that, and I think with those guys making the move to Charlotte, they have stepped up and made the commitment to take on the show, the expansion that it requires, putting it on a bigger stage. They've aligned themselves very well, networking and with media. I think Humpy Wheeler's, have been a huge part of that. They're making it more than a trade show, and I respect their efforts, and I hope it goes well for those guys.
All right. Well, Jason, anytime you're welcome here on the program. Give the website out real quick once again, and also is there any sponsors that I think some of the businesses that's gotten involved with Flag to Flag?
Absolutely. I appreciate that opportunity. We are located at www.flagtoflag.net, and we have had the good fortune of having some businesses align with us, and we have several partnering companies which reach out to the racers, and there's a whole full detailed list of those at flagtoflag.net. But I definitely got to thank, our corporate sponsors, which would be City Chevrolet, which they're based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. They do the crate engines. FJ Rod Ends has been a huge supporter of ours. Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, SRI Supplies, and JRI Stocks has really stepped up this year to be a big supporter of our deal. JRI is growing, as you guys know, in the dirt late model world, and they've been a huge support. They have a new 2013 shock package, which actually I think your next guest won on this weekend, so I won't take away from his thunder, but that's been very successful for those guys as well. And Renegade Race Fuels. So I don't want to leave anyone out. We have a ton of partnering companies that reach out to the racer, but those will be our main corporate sponsors that have stepped up, to see that we can make this work. And I'm thankful for each and every one of those. But, without taking any more of your time, we also appreciate you guys, for occasionally giving us the opportunity and the platform to, not necessarily talk about flag to flag, but talk about the drivers and companies that make it up. And we never want to lose that theme or theory.
Not a problem, brother. I'm going to put you back on hold. That way you can continue to listen to the hopefully we'll be as intelligent as we were earlier, which we don't use the word intelligent around here much. But let's welcome to the program a Skylar Troll crate champion. He picked up the $3,000 there at the event. Mr. Ryan Atkins, welcome to In the Dirt, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, when I logged on just a minute ago, I heard you and the other gentleman talking about being able to make fun of Lanigan if he didn't show up for the North-South. Was that correct?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But there's some backstory.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
I found out, I found out the reason why he didn't get to come last year. Did you guys hear about it?
Well, we knew he went on vacation. We did know. We did. That's what we heard.
No. I think that might have been a cover story. My understanding was that he had a very bad, severe instance with a lot of nightmares.
He had a lot of nightmares with Jimmy Owens. Is that what you're alluding?
He was having nightmares.
Yes, he was. He was.
Listen, Ryan, you are welcome to come on this show anytime you want to help us make fun of people.
Well, I've been made fun of all my life, so I'm good at it, buddy. Just you call me anytime.
That's right. So,
he just didn't want to get beat by Mr. Jim Can Wheel.
Oh, okay.
That is to come.
We have a. I don't know if you're familiar, Ryan, but we do a little deal here on the internet called Rumor Mill Theater, and we take headlines from late model racing and put them into skits, almost like Saturday Night Live skits, but we do it radio style with sound effects, voices. And we've got a Darryl Lanigan one in the chute. We hadn't had any time to record it, so I look forward to this. Oh yeah, it's.
I was thinking about it today, and I was just smiling the whole time I was driving down 75.
So now, Ron, you guys are running. You guys are in a crate program over there, and so you guys run. Is that all you guys run? Did you used to run? You used to run open wheel, didn't you?
No, I always have run the crate stuff.
Okay, I always run the crate. Okay.
Ever since I started, yes.
So I know that there's a couple different things you guys can run over there. The fast track, and then there's a new crate series starting up this year. What's the SECA? The Southeast Crate?
I'm not even sure because I've heard of. I guess it is. It's on down below me a pretty good ways, and if it's the one that I think you're talking about, it's all to do with local racing, for racing one track or something, and it doesn't fit our program at all.
Gotcha. So since you've always been in crates, how has the crate racing improved from a standpoint of now you guys can go race regionally, more tracks are running them. Especially, crates have taken off in the South. There's nobody that can deny that at this point. What have you've been around since the beginning of the crates? What is your interpretation of the crate racing in the Southeast and in your area?
Well, I think I started racing in 2008, and I think it was in 2009 there was, as far as in crate racing, as far as if you consider the Southeast, which is, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, in that area, and there, Virginia, West Virginia. There was 3 races that paid, let's see. There was 3 races that was $10,000 to win. There was a $25,000 to win race. There was 2 or 3 $5,000, and there was probably 1 or 2 handfuls of $3,000 to win, and there was a few $2,000 win shows. I mean, totally, if you added all those up in that area, there was probably 20-some races that was that big. And the bad thing is, now there's crate racing cars at a local weekly level at many places. But those big money paying races like that have really fell off. Now, to my knowledge, there is only one $10,000 to win crate race that is just a crate race event only, and that is that's the Neesmith race at the end of the year down at Ocala. There was one that started out the year I'm talking about. There was the Modoc 100. It paid $10,000 to win. There was the Pro Late Model Nationals at Westfield, Virginia, that paid $10,000. They had the big thing at Green Valley, I believe, that paid $25,000 to win. And then there was a $30,000 to win Fast Track Championship part. And now that is it's all kind of disappearing. I hate to see it, but it really is. As far as the big money support, they Fast Track 2 or 3 years ago, probably 75% of those shows paid $3,000 to win, and then there was a couple of $10,000s, and there was that one, occasional $2,000. Well, now they've all gone to there's a few $3,000, but they've all gone to $2,000 win races. The end of the year thing has fell off. Last year, their end of the year points championship payout was like $117,000. This year it was only like $84,000. So I hate to see it because, and it must be the economic times, and I believe that's what it is. That the money support is not there, but as far as the big end of the deal, as far as big money pulling into a racetrack and racing for $5,000 or better to win, is about disappeared. But there is a few 3,000 shows, so I feel like it's kind of fell downhill that way. But as far as pulling into a track and racing somewhere as crate racing goes, it has definitely grown.
I mean, I think as the economy's getting better, obviously, and I'm affiliated with the Neesmith guys, and last year we had, I think our lowest car count was like 28 cars. I mean, we were getting more cars than some of the bigger late model shows in the country last year, and I foresee a lot of that this year. Have you guys? And we're going to get to the victory of the weekend, but have you guys thought about the 525 motor and doing some of that racing? That's we got a 10 race schedule on that. Has that guys crossed your? Is that on your plate? Have you looked at it? Have you thought about it? Talked about it?
Well, I would love to move up and run something, with more power and more speed. But in all honesty, when you sit down and look at it, my dad's a minister. So when it comes to Saturday night, it doesn't matter where we're at. 99 out of 100 nights, we pack up and we come home, whether it be Rossburg, Ohio, or whether it be, right here in my back door. So with that said, we try to keep generally a 2 or 3 hour radius around our house. And when you figure that in with the super races that goes on, and and as of right now, the 525 motor to race for any money really would be for us in the super area. Well, with the tire rules and everything the way they are, financially for what it costs, there's no better way to go racing than crate racing for us, because most of the super shows are maybe $4,000 to win. There's some $5,000 to win around, and the occasional $10,000. But when you can race the same set of tires like I run this weekend, and we run them, and only thing, if I went out right now to run that event again, I would just change my right rear tire versus more 525 or open motor racing. The tire bill gets higher. The motor bill itself is extremely high, especially with the open motor stuff. And I guess the payoff to spending ratio is a lot closer gap in crate racing as far as in our area than it is with the other stuff. So, me personally, yeah, I'd love to go super racing, wide open, hammer down with a full budget of unlimited. But looking at it with somebody that doesn't have an open budget, crate racing is the way to go, period. For me.
Well, I mean, a lot of guys. I mean, that's you didn't say anything that 1,000 or 1,500 guys across the Southeast have said. But so early in the season, it's March. Certainly, this has got to be one of your guys' first events of the year, going over to Gastonia at Carolina Speedway.
Yes, sir. It was actually our very first event. We tested at Charlotte last week with Jason there at Flag to Flag, and then we tested on Sunday at Carolina Speedway, and then we turned around and came back for this past weekend and ran our very first event. Sure did. It was the first one out of the gate.
So you guys, you've already explained that you stay pretty close to home, and but to pick up $3,000 in your first night out, what's that? How much confidence, one, does it give you going into to the spring here, and two, what's it do for the race budget? Pretty good, I'd imagine.
Well, it's the confidence is big time. That was my first ever major touring event win, and I feel like that was. I've won some local shows, and I feel like that was to be able to take that next step, and to kind of what you say, separate yourself, because that's stepping out to being able to win on a touring level against some very stout competition, and so that's a big boost for me as a driver to know hey, I can get it done out there. And of course, financially, yes, $3,000 is great because over the winter we've spent plenty as far as getting a new motor, picked up a new AccuForce. He calls it a spring smasher, but it's a spring rating and pullover rating machine. So I felt like that would be great to our program. So that $3,000 was really good to kind of help us if they build the kitty back up.
Well, all right. Well, we're up against the end of the program here. Before we let you get out here, congratulations. Thank you very much for joining us on the program night, taking away from your Monday evening. You guys look like you're going to have a pretty good spring. Now, when's the next NDRA race for you?
Well, honestly, I don't know because they have not released the schedule.
But that's your obviously your plans are you're gonna stay on top of that as long as you guys are leading in points now.
Yes, that's our plan for now. Going into it, we had not really planned to because we didn't know what was going on, and we just, we always kind of kick our season off at the Skylar Troll at Carolina. And after winning it, first thing was, where's these guys' next race? We might have to chase these points now. So that's looking like that's into our plans as of now.
Well, all right. Well, I certainly wish you guys luck. And your brother's a pretty good friend of mine, so not only are you welcome anytime your brother is, but if you guys keep winning that on the NDRA schedule, just call me. We'll have you back on, and you can tell us about it. Before we let you get out of here, I want you to thank some of the sponsors on the race car, and also thank any of the crew members that helped get you that big win over the weekend.
Absolutely. I want to thank Circle K Convenience Stores, primary sponsor, and just unbelievable support, in more than one way. Elkins Jewelers, Steve Heintz and Heintz Brothers Performance, Smart Kicks with East Water Stove, FK Rod Ends, Fergola Performance System, JRI Shocks with an unbelievable new shock out that is an unreal shock package. I just can't go on enough about it. Hendon Racing Engines, they built me an unbelievable motor and a new carburetor out right now that's just making unreal power, to be honest. I got to thank David Taylor with Bobby Taylor Oil Company with a VP, MSD Ignition Systems, Hooker Harnesses. Make sure I don't forget anybody here. I got to thank Barry Rouch for building a chassis that is pretty spot on, and he's kind of treated me like a son and took me under his wing. As a kid starting out and never drove nothing, and he's really been forthcoming with knowledge, and I can't say enough about that. Of course, I got to thank Jason, my brother with Flag to Flag, and what all he does as far as the business end of it, of approaching the right companies that I need to approach, and with a product and with sponsor-wise and everything. So I can't thank all those guys enough. You know, my cousins Drew and Tyler, we keep it as a family. They're my crew guys, and they couldn't be no better. You know, they're not guys that you see out here that say, no, the driver, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to do this. They come in and say, well, what do you want done? And I tell them, and they do it, and we go have fun, and so I can't have a better crew than you.
That's Ryan Atkins. He picked up $3,000 to win at the NDRA Skylar Troll Memorial, the crate portion of that program. Ryan, we will see you down the highway, brother. Good luck and be safe.
Thanks, guys.
We are up against it. We also like to thank Jason for coming on. Before we run out of time, I'd like to thank all my guests for coming on. I would like to thank Rob Rouch and his driver, Scott Bowersock, for coming on. I'd like to thank Josh Gurn for coming on, the Bear Lake Badass. We named him that. I'd like to thank Miss Elizabeth Richardson, the 305 sprint car driver out of Justin, Texas. I'd like to thank Randy Weaver for joining us. Picked up a big win at the Shamrock, Cleveland Speedway. It was a slide job. It was slide job happy everywhere. I don't know how many was thrown, but there was a bunch of them. I'd also like to thank Ryan Atkins for joining us, flag to flag. His brother Ryan, who picked up the big win. We just talked with him from the NDRA event there at the Carolina Speedway. Brian Gray, we got about 90 seconds.
Florence Speedway is where we're going to be at this weekend, right, Webb?
I will be making my first trip to Florence Speedway this weekend.
Saturday night. We're going to have a good time.
And you're coming too, right? You're coming too, right?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to miss it.
Are we going to set up an autograph table?
Hell yeah.
We should just set one up and just see if anybody comes up.
Yeah. You got to. I'm making personal appearances this weekend in Florence. Come on down the pit area. We're going to interview some people and get them all flustered.
Bring white T-shirts, and we'll draw the In the Dirt logo on them and then sign it. Okay.
Walmart, baby.
All right, for everybody here at In the Dirt, Brian Gray and all our guests, thank you for listening. And either we'll see you at Florence or we'll talk to you on Monday. Peace out.